Clap.
Perfect. Hey everyone, my name is Benjamin. I'm the co-founder of Spotlite and host of Model Talk. Today I'm joined by
Camille. I'm Camille.
Wow,
yeah.
it's great to have you back. We were going to pretend like this never happened, but we actually already did one podcast taping, but unfortunately the audio files got corrupted. So I'm really happy to have you back. Maybe you can give us like a little intro about yourself.
So I'm Camille. I've been living in Korea for 3 years. I'm doing modeling in Korea for 3 years. Yeah, pretty much.
And where are you from originally?
Oh, sorry. I'm French.
Yep.
I'm French. Wow, can we start over?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Let's go. Okay. Okay. I'm Camille. I've been living in Korea for 3 years. I'm French. Yeah.
And like, when did you come to Korea? Was that a long time ago, or were you bouncing around a bit and then decided to come here, or were you?
So I was living in China before,
Really?
studying China, and I don't know, during COVID, I went back to my country and I was like, this is dead right now. I need to do something. Like, we were supposed to stay inside during the COVID.
Were the restrictions pretty heavy?
Yeah, super heavy.
Really?
Like, we couldn't go out at all, or just to go buy some groceries, but one person at a time, not even like...
That's crazy.
Yeah, like really heavy.
Well, thankfully it's over.
Thankfully it's over, but yeah, it made me think like, oh, I need to get out of it. So,
And what were you doing in China?
in China, I was studying business.
Oh.
Yeah, international business boards.
And
like,
what made you decide to go to China? Like, because that seems like very polar opposite from living in France, right?
That's the thing, is like almost half of my year was like in the States, and the other half was in China. So
really?
I wanted to be able to compare, like to know where I belong to, because I wasn't seeing myself living in France or in Europe. So yeah, I wanted to taste the water, you know.
And do you feel like more comfortable in Asia?
I do feel more comfortable in China, and when I discovered Korea even more, I think it really suits my lifestyle, like how convenient and safe it is in Korea. It's amazing. So.
And what was that first experience like when you first came here? Were you just kind of like shock and awe, or you kind of had, you know, a little bit of exposure to somewhat of an Asian culture and being in China?
I mean, I think
I just gotta make sure.
make sure. China is heavier when it comes to people. Is more complicated to communicate with people. They have like they really love seeing you. How can I say, like, they're impressed to see you, and they are around you, like trying to take photo of you and stuff.
Yeah, on the street,
but
right?
they're not trying to build a relationship with you. In Korea, it's more open up. Like, I can actually talk to people and like try to create, like, they're not like stopping, like see me stop and like try to take a photo of me. Like, no, they don't.
Do you feel like
this.
there's more community feeling here, like community culture vibe?
Definitely. Young people, try to be more open to the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's also not having to use VPN to even use Instagram, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you kind of got into modeling, because I mean, this is the platform that we're driving, like exposing modeling, you know, people sharing their stories. So let's go to the beginning. Like, how did you get into modeling? Were you scouted? Were you like, oh, I love fashion, I'm gonna go find an agency? Like, take me through that process.
So basically, before I was a basketball player, so nothing related to fashion. I stopped playing because of my studies. It was really complicated to do both. So nothing related to fashion industry. So just basically, I got scouted by some agencies.
Was that
like
here or in
Korea?
France?
In Korea,
Okay.
yeah. I had some in France. I actually have also my agencies in France. But in Korea, they were like, "Do you want to do some modeling?" That was my first try, actually. Do you want to be a model? I was like, "Can I make money out of it?"
Yeah.
And I tried, and it was fun, and I met so many cool people, and yeah.
So what was that scouting process like? Was it on the street, or did you go to an open call?
Actually, it was on social media.
Through Instagram?
Yeah, through Instagram.
So they just reached out, saw your stuff, and was like, "Hey, look, like we want to give you a visa. Like, come sign with us."
Exactly.
Really?
Yes. So at first it was some brand that contacted me and be like, "We like your profile, so would you like to do some modeling from?" So I started to do some modeling for some brands, but without being paid, because at the time I didn't have the
Wait.
rights.
So it was for a brand for like advertising material, but they didn't pay you?
Yeah, like small brands.
Okay.
Small brands, and I was just wanted to give it a try. You know, I wasn't that much confident about my own appearance, so I was like, okay, that's an experience I wanna try.
Yeah, that's super cool. I mean, it's a great way to start building your portfolio with, actual work.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of models, they'll go and do test shoots or like creative projects, maybe with like university school students, or it could be anything.
Yeah.
But to be able to start like your first couple jobs with actual brands is like really, really kind of wild, actually.
I mean, I never really expected, and I never wanted to be a model, so I never tried to get into those creative projects and stuff. So, yeah.
And what was like the moment at that shooting where you're like, oh wow, this is actually really cool. Like I want to start trying to explore modeling a little bit more.
I think it was more about the people. It's not about the work itself. It's more about the people. I met so many like inspiring and cool people. I was like, I want to be surrounded by these people.
Yeah, like very creative,
really,
like artistic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very cool.
Like they were really sharing an idea, like really sharing a whole world that I didn't know before because I wasn't in the creative field. So I was like, I want to discover this part of myself.
So you kind of started to feel like, oh wow, like I never really went down this creative journey, but now I'm like really enjoying it. So I want to dive deeper. And now you're 3 years deep into modeling, right?
Yes, this is crazy actually. This is really crazy.
And so like, maybe I think a lot of people that don't have that maybe same experience, like when you got contacted, were you really active on social media, like presenting yourself in that kind of way, or was it just like by chance that it happened?
I got really lucky. I'm a lucky one because I'm not really a social media. Even right now, I barely post any of my jobs. So I'm really lucky with my career right now because it's working pretty well for me.
Yeah.
I get contacted pretty often. I work with few agencies. I'm not someone that's trying to put myself out there. Like I don't post much.
Really? Like, don't you feel though, especially in Korea, that social media is like super, super, super important for, finding and connecting with people in the fashion industry? Because I know, like, even as you just mentioned, like a lot of clients will look for potential models through Instagram, right?
Yeah. This is true. Like I know social media are really big in Korea, and if you want to be a successful model, you have to be big on
on your social
Instagram,
channels, like super active and stuff like this.
You will definitely get way more jobs. But I'm kind of comfortable, like in my comfort zone, in a way that I still get a lot of jobs without doing this. And I aspire to do something different than modeling. So I'm working on other stuff.
But then don't you think that like you can kind of leverage this opportunity you have now where it's like this is content people like to see, especially, because the fashion audience is so broad, right? It can just be anybody that just likes to style themselves a certain way. Don't you feel like maybe it would be worth like kind of putting a little bit more activity into social media so that when you're ready for that next step, you have this like following that you can start doing whatever else it is you want to do down the line?
Yeah, I think it's really important, but I think also it's a whole job. Like I know some people are just really talented for it and work really hard for it. And I'm not like, I don't have it.
But what about like,
I don't know.
I know like there's a lot of, especially the freelance community.
I sound so old.
No.
Why? I'm not.
It's okay. Like, I just know like, especially within the freelance community here, a lot of times like people will get together or go to like expo or a cool cafe to, like take photos and like really get posts like flowing out consistently. Like you're not interested in doing that at all?
the crazy thing is like I'm always active. The past 3 years in Korea, I've been doing so much things. I'm really active. I go to museum. I love exhibitions. I go to event. I get invited to event. I go to cafe all the time. This is where I work when I'm not doing modeling. Like, I could have so much.
Yeah, so why not
content.
start?
I know.
Right?
I know. I should.
Because I think you'll look back and be like, wow, I got to do all these amazing experiences that, you know, very select few people get to participate in.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, I should have recorded that, or I should have done that, you know?
This is why I'm saying, like, I kind of have this old spirit. Like, I go everywhere with a disposal camera.
Oh, that's cool.
And I print my photos, and I love keeping them for myself and showing to my friend. It's not something that I post all the time, like, you know, on social media. Like, yesterday I had a full day of doing so many stuff, and I barely post anything because I don't know, like, for me it's the moment. But you're so right. Like, I know you're so right. Like, I should share way more, but...
Because, I mean, even, like, personal reflection, like, I really wish, like, I started even not only for, you know, building clout and, like, using that following to do something else, but also just for, like, my own memories to be able to look back and, like, I don't know, maybe I made a vlog of when I went on this crazy job and you're like, oh, well, now I only have like a couple pictures, and it's like maybe like you've done so much that like your memory starts to fade a little bit here and there. Like it's just good also for like, you know, look back on like this journey through fashion that, you know, you're on now. Plus like, I know like we've already done this. So like, I know like you mentioned last time we talked that you're starting to look into designing and creating your own label, right?
Yes.
Like this is, I think, the perfect avenue for you to start like building that network in fashion, building that following around fashion, because people are going to be attracted to you for your style, your appearance, everything. And then when you're ready to launch, you know, your brand, they're already bought into you. Yeah. And then you immediately have customers and an audience who are like, oh, wow, like I love her style. Now she's creating clothes that are within her DNA of style or essence. I don't know how to say it, but then they're like, oh, I gotta buy that. I gotta buy that. I gotta buy that. You know what I mean?
This is the funny thing is like, I think people like how I dress and what I wear, but they mostly like for now, I'm trying to build real relationships. So I have really nice connection in fashion, really nice connection and friendship that I'm building. And I think it's the most important for me right now. But in the future, I know that with my second account, like Instagram account, when it comes to my brand, I will definitely post way more. I will have definitely more content. But when it comes to me, I want something more personal, you know? It's really important for me. This is the kind of person I am.
No, I totally get it, because to be honest, like I prefer not to have to do social media at all. Yeah. I mean, now I'm on the out of modeling. Like I don't really put energy into it so much anymore. But like during that time, I was always like that mindset, you know, like, you know, like I just want my private life to be my private life. But I mean, that's what social media is for. It's just to show like, you know, like the super glamorous, like fancy moments of your life. Like it's, I think just like a micro snapshot of what's actually going on. But I think it's super, super important, especially in this industry where, you know, everything is like image based, right? Yeah. All it takes is one really good photo to get on the explore page of a photographer, and then, you know, you get bookings, word of mouth, because I think like you can agree, like this industry is really built on like word of mouth and reputation, right? Yes. So I think like start doing it, and then like when you're ready to start launching your brand, I think you already have that following that's like bought into you, and then it's really easy to start like growing and growing and growing and growing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to build this with my agency right now, because they're really on the influencing side, so they know how to market. So we're trying to work on it. Yeah.
Do they do like a lot of content creation and stuff like this, or they just kind of give you like a strategy of?
We're trying to build a strategy plan first and see what kind of content I would like to post more about, like fashion or more like experience or modeling and stuff like that. So we're working on it right now, like to have a whole plan, to everything to be clear, because I think I need someone to lead me a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, my Instagram itself is terrible. Like I only post there because like I felt like I needed to because you know, especially in this industry, everybody is so active on social media.
Yeah.
They're kind of like, I feel like maybe I should post some stuff too.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. I know you mentioned like your first couple jobs, they were shooting for brands, but they weren't paid.
Yeah.
So what was that first paid experience like where somebody was like, hey, I want to pay you to be the face for like my brand campaign or lookbook or...
It was a sport brand.
Mm.
I did it with another model that I shoot a lot nowadays.
In Korea?
In Korea. And I had an amazing experience. The vibe was really good. The client was like really nice. Like they knew what they wanted, which made the work easier.
Easy.
And I don't know, I just had a good relationship with the other models. It's not always the case. Like it was easy to shoot with him.
Yeah.
Super comfortable. Everything was really nice.
Did they provide you like a bunch of references beforehand so you could kind of see the vibe?
So yeah, they sent me like exactly what I'm gonna wear. So
they sent you like the full time slot.
everything.
Oh wow, that's
Everything.
awesome.
I had the timetable.
That's cool.
Had the clothes I was able to wear. Also the kind of pose they wanted. So it's making more smooth, and that we can just like we're done.
Yeah.
Just
next one.
Easy.
And like, okay, so how did you before? I don't know exactly how much experience you had from your first job to that job, but like, how did you develop your posing? Like, were you watching references on YouTube or just looking through social media and like trying to imitate poses?
So my first jobs, it was more about social media. I was watching social media how to pose. They were like, "Did you have a pose? Like, did you ever work for a fashion, like in fashion industry?" And I was like, "Yes." You know, this fake it until you make it. I was like, "Yes, I did." I did it.
Dynamic.
Yeah.
Mysterious.
Like, wow.
Okay, I got you.
But I'm always being really professional. When I do something, I love being the best. So I work and I train. I mean, I used to play basketball, as I say. I train really hard to be like as good as people expect me to be. So
like, are you practicing at home? Like finding, I don't know, like, cause I know like, I had a couple of people recently reach out to me that are kind of looking at exploring modeling and getting in, but they're not necessarily, I mean, I gave them some advice, but I think like we can kind of blanket this for a lot of people in the future. That's like, how did you find these references? Was it like you went to Vogue and started looking through all the posing and then practice with like a tripod at home, or are you watching videos on YouTube?
So at that time I had he's still my good friend, but he was really, really helpful.
Like a mentor.
Yeah, a mentor.
That's cool.
He was a model in Korea. He left now, but he told me just put yourself in front of a mirror and just find like the best side, the best position, like mostly for your face, because your face is so important. Because people focus way too much on how like to put your arms and like your body and how to be smooth, but they don't care enough about like
their angles. Yeah.
So that was my first step. I was like, I need to find my angles. I need to know exactly how I look good.
So like you were kind of like taking like a bunch of photos with different angles and then sending it off to them to kind of be like, hey, like what's working, what's not working.
Yes,
Okay.
And then I even asked to one of my friends that had a camera to take photo of me and to see like what's good or what's not.
Was that like a professional setting, like a studio or like on the street?
It was outdoor.
Okay.
Literally, it was outdoor. I tried also to do a basketball like
like a sports shirt. Okay.
Yeah. So that's how I started to learn. And when it comes to looking out on social media, I was just more trying to look for less professional videos, like people that were trying to advise how to pose, because Vogue is like, it's Vogue.
Yeah, it's top.
Like,
but it's also
later
very
on,
editorial style, you know.
yeah. Later on, yes. But first of all, give yourself like the time to learn the basics and then to go like, yeah.
And when you first like did your like very first shooting in the studio, like was your posing really good? Was it bad? Like did you feel natural in front of the camera?
I actually had really good photos.
Oh, really? Wow, nice.
But when I look back at the videos, sometimes like, what are like you were trying to do? Like what? Literally, like
your hands are like up here.
oh my god! Like even with the other models, you know, it's like super like awkward sometimes.
Do you ever find it hard shooting with other models? Because I know sometimes it's really 50-50. Like if they have, I mean, it's all, you know what? I think it really depends on personality.
Yes.
Because if people are really more on the outgoing kind of like energetic, confident side, you can really start to just kind of feel comfortable with each other. And, you know, like really simple stuff like arm on the shoulder or around feels just kind of natural.
Yeah.
Versus like people that are a little bit more quiet and shy, you're kind of like, oh, like,
Yeah.
are we gonna be friends in this friend shoot or?
Yeah, sometimes it can be really, really tough when I shoot with someone that, as you say, like pretty shy, I don't know really what to do. It can be really tough because you have to be the one that intend like to take a step forward and do more than the other one. The problem is most of the time on the photo you can say that there is one model like doing more than the other one, but that's not. I will say like that's not my business in the way that I can't do anything about it. Like I'm doing my work and that's the most important. But honestly, most of the time, I had a good experience with other models. Like they knew what they were doing and like comfortable. Yeah. They were like.
I mean, sometimes I think like when you have, I mean, especially in the beginning, like if you're working with other models, it's really good because you can kind of be like right there to, you know, see how they're moving or how they're interacting with the crew and different things like this. And you can kind of take away those like little pieces and pieces and pieces. And then, you know, like as you get more experience, it just becomes like, I don't know, riding a bike. Like it's just so natural, right?
It actually really helped me to shoot with multiple models at first. I was scared to shoot by myself.
Oh, really?
And the fact that...
How come?
Because I was like, I need to see how to work in the industry first.
Ah, okay.
And I kind of needed to copy to see what people expect, like what they like.
Yeah.
So seeing other model, like other women, like feminine models shoots was really helpful to see like what I should do also.
In what sense? Like what you should do is in like how you should arrive, like present yourself to the client, these kind of things, or like more on like in front of the camera?
In front of the camera. Like I think with relationship I'm really good at because I used to work in event and business and I have this thing. But front of the camera, like I need to see the pace, like how fast you need to move, how like smooth you have to be, like it's And I know like every single country is different.
Super different.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you go somewhere like China, it's just like
yes.
There's like a BPM and you have to be like on the pace, you know, because the photographer sometimes just they're like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Have you ever had a shoot like that where it was like really robotic? Because I know like you can see these videos on Instagram sometimes where models are like beep 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 beep, you know, like this kind of stuff.
This.
Oh, really?
I had this for
here
some
in
lookbooks.
Korea.
Yeah, in Korea for some lookbooks. And the client just expects us to do over and over the same pose with just changing like the top and then changing just the pants and like just having the same pose over and over and over. That's the worst to me.
Yeah, it just feels like you're like a robot, right?
Yeah. There is nothing personal. Like you can't like show your identity through the shoot. You just like.
But I kind of feel like that's the case for almost all shootings outside of maybe some editorial or campaign. Because I think I don't know, maybe you have a different experience, but I think generally clients have somewhat of an idea what they want. Like clients never know like exactly what it is they want. Like they may have a bunch of references and you do something completely different and they're like, oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Right. But like, have you ever had that where like you were, I don't know, maybe following all the references really well, or like responding to what they provided you and they still weren't like happy with it, or they wanted like, hey, we want something completely different?
Yeah. I always try to follow the references at first, and then I always try to bring my
Explore a little
my
bit.
thing, you know. So yeah, I don't want my shoots to be boring. Always trying to bring my little things. Like, I mean, like, you choose me, so you liked my image, like you like how I present myself. So most of the time, people really appreciate that I also bring my own touch.
I wanna just saying like you choose me made me think of something, and I know it's talked about a lot in the industry that, you know, you kind of have to be comfortable with rejection, because the reality is like you can't get every job. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You'll have tons and tons and tons of castings throughout your career, but you can't get every one. How do you find like you deal with, you know, maybe not getting a job that you were really excited about, or that you thought like, okay, I did so well at the casting, I'm the perfect face for this brand, looking at previous shootings, like how do you deal with, like, you know, the rejection within the industry?
Honestly, I really don't take it personally. Like,
is that because like you like you're like just like very carefree in general, or
I think the luck that we have in Korea is like there is not much casting. Like, you don't have to present yourself like in face to face most of the time. Like, people choose you through photos. So I don't think every single time I had a cast, my luck, I touch
knock on wood.
Yeah. I'm like, but every single time I had a casting, they choose me.
Oh wow, really?
So I don't have this.
Okay, never mind. Get out.
Lucky me.
So like, what are some of the challenges that you've faced so far within modeling? Because obviously it's not casting.
Yeah. I think the most complicated part for me was to accept myself and to
like
not
self-esteem kind of stuff.
and not trying to match with all the standards. Because I'm different. Like, I have a different background, and obviously it really affected who I am right now, even physically, because I used to be an athlete. So obviously I have muscles, and maybe my legs are a little bit like bigger than usual models because I have muscles, and I work out every day. I love working out. So I work out, I lift weight, like this is what I really like. So I had to accept the fact that I'm different, but I'm not fat. I'm maybe bigger. My shoulder can be bigger. My arms can be bigger, but this is not being fat. And that was really a struggle that I had at first, because I wanted to look like all these models. They look amazing.
Pencil
obviously.
thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can't, because I have a different background. Like,
I mean, everybody's has unique features, right?
yeah.
And like, I mean, this is the thing. Like, I think there's this misconception that to be a model in general, you have to be exactly like this size.
Yeah.
And like, I think recently, maybe over the last few years, maybe 5 years or so, it started to change, like with social media and influencers now doing runway and campaigns and everything. Like, I think the industry as a whole is kind of becoming more accepting in a way, or more inclusive, which I think is great, because like I can't tell you how many times, and I'm sure you've seen it too, like models that are just like dieting way too aggressively or just really not taking care of their body. And then, you know, like it shows up on camera, it shows up in general, like it's really, really unhealthy, right?
But honestly, it was experience. Like, I can say that it happened to me. I was starving myself. I was running every day 10. That was my minimum. I was like, if you don't run your 10K every day, if you eat more than these calories, like, you wouldn't be successful. And that was like so like implanted in my head, like. But thankfully, I overcame this.
So what was it that like started to get your mindset shifting as like, oh, okay, I have to look like that person versus just be myself and, you know, grow as an individual, and like the clients that like me will find me?
Yeah. So I think at first it's because sometimes some clients were making me uncomfortable about my body, in the sense that they always ask you a measurement, but I don't know if they really care.
I mean, they do, because it's sample sizing, right?
Yeah, but you know, like my hips are a little bit wider than I have some curves, so a little bit wider than Koreans, average Koreans. So most of the time, the pants, for example, like my waist is fine, but sometimes it's too flat for my booty. So I can't fit. I don't fit, and they make me feel like it's my fault. It's my fault, like you're too fat, like you have to lose weight, like when every single measurement is fine, because
But what, okay, so then like what was the point that started to make you feel like more comfortable in your own skin? Like, was there like a client that you worked with that was just like praising you as like you being you? Because I mean, sometimes you have those clients and they are amazing. Or was it just like more experience? You just started to feel comfortable and you're like, you know what, like I'm just going to be myself.
So I went back to France. I went back to France and I saw a lot of beauty in being more curvy. Like being curvy in France is more the beauty standards than in Korea. So I was like telling myself, you need to get your confidence back, because you're pretty. Like you're pretty. Everybody around you is pretty, and they're not like pencil, as you say, like pencil. But yeah, I took a break. I learned how to love myself again, and I went back. And then I was like, okay, here I am, and you have to like me the way I am. So.
And so far, it's just been like you're crushing it, right?
Yes.
See,
I don't want to go back to this mentality.
I mean, like I think that's the thing, like especially for new models, you know, like there's a lot of pressure, you know, because I mean, you're surrounded by people that are also like very attractive or like taking really good care of their body. Not always, but generally in this industry, like you need to be pretty fit just to cover like a wide range of jobs, and it just looks better in clothing and this and that and this. But I think there's like a lot of pressure, especially just as a newcomer, that you're like, oh, you know, like if I don't look like Kendall Jenner, or if I don't look like, I don't know, Alton Mason or another top model, then like, you know, like I'm never going to make it. Like I have to be that size, which I don't think is like healthy at all.
This is not.
So like what kind of advice would you have? Because I think, you know, like I can always say to somebody like, you know, just be comfortable in your own skin, but it never really means much. So it's like, what kind of advice do you think you could give to like a new generation of models coming into the industry to kind of push that, you know, be yourself, be healthy, and good things will come?
I think the most important is also to identify what kind of model you are. People shouldn't pressure themselves when they match more with commercial models, or when they match more like with fashion models. And this is something I try to not stress about anymore. When I told myself, maybe I'm more a commercial model, maybe I'm a more daily life. I don't have to be skinny, like really, really, really skinny. I don't have to look like those amazing top model. I'm just different. I'm just different, and people still want to work with me, and they're gonna pay me a lot to work with me. So why not loving myself, you know?
Yeah, of course.
So that's my advice. Is like you have to identify what kind of model you are, and still love yourself. Like, today I'm lucky to do both, like fashion and commercial. if tomorrow I gain a little bit of weight and I don't match with fashion anymore, it's whatever.
Do you have a preference, like fashion versus commercial?
I like commercial a lot
How come?
nowadays.
How come?
I love shooting for like, I don't know, like acting. Acting is so fun. Acting is so fun and have like some. It's like new experience.
I think
new
it's like a little
stuff.
bit more expressive, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think sometimes when, you know, like even if you have like a super long shooting, you know, 10 hours or 12 hours, 15 hours, sometimes even longer, like you just kind of feel like, oh, I don't really get to be creative, even though it's a really creative industry. You're just kind of like, okay, do this pose, do this pose, do this pose, you know. But I think, yeah, like as you mentioned, like TV commercial or a lot of the commercial side of modeling allows you to be a little bit more expressive. But I don't know. What do you really feel that same way for like lookbook or like e-commerce stuff?
Honestly, lookbook, I don't have fun anymore with it. It depends with if I'm with the right people. Okay, it's fine. But for me, lookbook is not fun anymore. But when it comes to commercial or more creative shoots, yeah. Like,
so do you see yourself like pursuing or like transitioning into acting down the line, or?
I'm trying to get more into acting, which means also like TV and movies. I think, yeah.
Have you had any experience so far, like shooting like short film, maybe for like a creative project, or?
I do. Like this day, I'm shooting for a kind of a movie. Student.
Whoa,
like,
that's cool.
As a student, I'm supposed to be a 16 years old student.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's really fun to do this. I also shot for J-Park. I did a music video where I had to slap him.
Yeah, okay, let's talk about that. I completely forgot about that, but now I want to talk about it because I think it's really, really cool. So maybe we can go to the beginning of how that project, because I remember all the pieces now. So like maybe we can go to the beginning of like how they got in contact with you, because I know even the way they contacted you is like a little unconventional, right?
I mean, the label contacted me directly, so they reached me out through social media. I don't know how they found me, and I guess I will never know.
Did you have like the hashtags and stuff in your bio, like freelance model in Korea?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did. But they reached me out and they're like, they didn't want to talk about the artist first, but they were like, okay, we're trying to look for a main model. Can you send us like some videos of you like arguing and being mad? And I was like, okay, fine. And it worked out. It worked out, and I figured out it was J-Park. And this experience really made me realize that, I love acting and I want to do this more. Yeah.
And when you shot this MV, was this like in the earlier stages of your career, or was this like a little bit down after you had more experience? Like, where was this in this timeline?
It was actually the end of the last year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like November. Yeah. We shot last November, so pretty recently. And I'm glad it happened at the time because I had time. It gave me time to be more confident about my acting and be more confident as a model. So I'm really happy I had this experience at that time. It was perfect. It was just perfect.
I want to ask, like, were you surprised, like, when these kind of, I guess, non-typical projects? Because I think, like, from an outside perspective, people just think it's like, you know, modeling for iPhone where you're just like standing there, like, you know, this kind of stuff. But I think like people don't necessarily understand that within modeling you can do a lot of different things.
So many.
Like, were you kind of like shocked like when these things started coming in, and were you like, oh, whoa, like?
I was kind of shocked, yes, because I couldn't realize like how many different stuff, like the range of things I could do, different experience I could get. So I was amazed, and I'm still amazed. Like people can still surprise me with new project. I get surprised all the time. Like last week, I shot. I won't say the name, but I shot for a big Korean festival.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was almost everything was on 3D.
What do you mean?
Like, how can I explain? We shot in a studio where there were like a screen all around, and we have some image, and when they're gonna edit, they're gonna do like some 3D stuff
that's
around
cool.
me.
So was it like full green screen around you?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes. So we obviously had a county and like we had to do some stuff, but
well, that's cool.
it was so cool. I had to act again, to dance a little bit.
Did you have any like prior dancing experience before that, or were you just like, were they like, hey, can you dance? And you're like, yeah.
They didn't even tell me beforehand, so I was like surprised. But
Okay, so I want to touch on that because I think that's something that happens in modeling a lot, where you know, clients are not necessarily very clear about the JD all the time, like the job description, where it's like, hey, like this is like the kind of stuff we're gonna do, or this is like, do you know how to play drums? Because you're gonna be playing drums, and then you get there and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, does this look like I'm drumming or something like this? Like, how do you feel about that? Like, sometimes it's okay, but like, have you ever had an experience where, you know, client was like, hey, we're going to do this shooting, and then you showed up and, you know, like what was expected was not what was described to you?
it happens. I mean, last week it happens. I had to dance with, literally, they were professional dancers. And I had to match with their level. And I was like, what? But it happens to me, like on some Samsung, when they ask me, can you skate? At last second, I'm like, I can try, but you won't see me like flipping and stuff.
I mean, I think in that sense, it's okay. Like if clients are kind of communicating with you, or there's some understanding that, hey, like, you know, like I might not be able to do 100% of what you're thinking, but like you've never really had an experience aside from the dancing where you showed up and they were like, hey, do you know how to, I don't know, do a backflip?
I mean, no, thankfully they always ask. I mean, I guess they don't want to mess up anyway. So they always ask me if I can do this or not, and they ask me videos to confirm that I actually can do it. So I had to send some video of me playing basketball, for example, to make, like, they wanted to make sure that I can actually play.
Yeah, of course.
So no, thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, knock on wood again.
Yeah.
Do you have any like key pieces of advice for like people that might be interested in modeling? Like, hey, like this is something you should try, but don't put all your eggs into this basket because, you know, like it's very unpredictable, can be very volatile, like there's not much stability, like these kind of things I don't think people outside are so aware of. Like, are there any like things or words of caution that you would give to somebody coming into the industry?
My own opinion is to be open up to do many different stuff. I know there is a lot of people really inspired and they love fashion and they want to do high fashion, but sometimes you shouldn't put yourself in a box. You should try to open up and be ready to do different stuff because modeling has so much to offer. So definitely my advice will be like, try to do new things. If they're looking for someone that play tennis, try to play tennis.
Yeah.
Try to record some videos and send it to agency and you will get really fun and cool jobs. Yeah, that will be my advice.
Yeah, I honestly, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's like you have to be really open to like trying and exploring new things. I remember even, what was it, like 2 years ago, there was another model in Korea who was like, I play golf a lot.
Yeah.
And like, you know, golf jobs here are
There's a lot.
so many golfing jobs here. Because I don't know how there's that many brands, but there are. And he was like, hey, like, can you like show me how to like swing the club so I can take some videos? And, you know, like now I can send this to clients that they can see that I at least have some idea of what I'm doing or something like this. But yeah, I think like 100% modeling provides you like so many random opportunities that you would never even imagine, like being in a J Park music video, right? But if you're not like really confident that you can go after it or at least try, then you're just losing on an opportunity that who knows what could come of it.
Yes,
right?
definitely.
Okay, so I want to go back to the MV job a little bit because I think last time we talked, you were mentioning that the way they contacted you was through like a burner account or something like this, right?
Yes.
So like, how do you filter out like what's a real job request versus what might be like something sketchy or, you know?
I mean, I always reply at first, and you quickly can see if they're serious or not. Like, and most of the time they record to meet you or to have a phone call and to talk about all the details. So you can see quickly that they're pretty serious. And also, like, I put them directly in contact with my agency. They have to create a contract. So if they create a contract, I mean, it has to be legal and serious, you know?
But like, have you ever had like, because I know like from friends and friends of friends or hearing stories through like modeling community, like there's always like, you have to be very careful because like you never know like if this is like the address I'm going to, is it a real casting? Like, is it legitimate? Like, am I just going to go to somebody's house? Like these kind of things. Like, how do you kind of vet, like, you know, like somebody contacted me on Instagram and like they're like, hey, can you come to this casting? Like, how can you kind of determine like, is this legit or is this not legit? Like,
I don't know. I got so lucky. I guess like hearing you, I'm like, I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky, and please don't try to scam me from now. But I got really lucky until now. I know, like, I can see when it's a small brand, not a big budget that contact me. Like, but I never had any problem with trying, like, someone that trying to
like take advantage of you or do something sketchy.
No.
Oh, wow.
I can.
Knock on wood. So what about like budget and price negotiation and things like this? Like, I know especially in freelance, it can be like kind of sporadic because sometimes, you know, like you're just like, hey, yeah, like that brand seems cool. Like, even though they're slightly under my budget, like I'm willing to work with them because like I like the clothes or the team seems really great. These kind of things. Like, how do you manage like those negotiations?
I tend to be really human when it comes to small brands. Like, I really want to try, like, to help out those kind of brand. If I have time, I have time. I rather be paid, I'll say. And also, like, I also know that they always treat me really well. They hopefully want to have a good result. That's why they contacted me and they almost beg me. I still get paid, but I'm fine when it comes to a small brand. But when it comes to a big brand, I have no pity. Like, I'm like, don't even try. I know my worth. Like, I know how much you're supposed to pay me, and I know you can pay for it.
So how do you determine your rate or payment, right? Because what I see now a lot of times is people come into the industry super fresh, like an underdeveloped book, and they're charging so much. And I'm like, you need to build up more book portfolio experience to start justifying charging more. And it's like, if you're pricing yourself out of being competitive versus, you know, somebody might have 100, 200, 300 more shootings than you and you're in the same price point. Like, how do you, I guess, come up with like your base hourly rate or like these kind of things? Like,
I mean, at first I tried, when I first came into the industry, I tried to ask around me to other models, like, because as a freelancer, there is no one to tell you, like, your agency not going to tell you how much you're supposed to get paid. So I was just asking to people around me, like, how much do you get this time? And like, we're like trying to compare, and they're trying to tell me, okay, for 6 months it's like this, exclusive, like, it's like this, like, global is like this. And I really listened carefully about what they were saying. And then I try to also compare myself with other model of, I'll say, with the same profile, which means like mix maybe black woman.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is how I fix my range of prices,
Mm-hmm.
because I know I have a lot of offers. So it means that I can raise
Mm-hmm.
how much I can. I'm really good with business, so yeah, I just try to compare myself.
No, I think that's great. Like, I mean, I would always advise, I guess, for people coming in, like, obviously you have a lot of experience now,
Mm.
but maybe somebody watching or that sees a clip and now finds a podcast, listens through, like, I would always kind of be a little bit more open to negotiation, I think, in the earlier stages where,
Yeah.
you know, you need those materials so you can go and get the next job and get the bigger job and then,
Yeah.
you know, climb that ladder. But then I think it's really important, like, as you're kind of mentioning now, like, after you have some experience and you have some understanding of how the industry works, that you're very firm in protecting, like, your image and your
Yeah.
value. Otherwise, like, people are just going to exploit it, right?
That's the thing, is like I saw myself saying no to big amount of money
Mm-hmm.
because I knew I should get way more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really tough sometimes because you're like, this is still a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're the person that's saying yes to this kind of thing, they will keep like lowering.
Yeah.
Over
Next
and
time it's
over.
going to be a little bit less and they're just going to keep
Yes.
undercutting you, right? Yeah.
Yes, this is something I'm super strict
Mm.
with myself. Like for Samsung, for example,
Mm-hmm.
Samsung is really big in Korea. They shoot a lot of commercial every year.
Tons.
So it's something I'm like, if I don't get this, there is no way I work with you. Like I know it's a lot, but you're not respecting my work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
And do you ever find that, like, I don't want to say because I think some people will take it negatively, and I want to keep like the let's vibe positive. Do you feel like since you started to now, like, let's take this kind of in a different way, since like you first came into the industry till now, which is like 3 or 4 years, give or take, the industry has shifted a lot, or everything has kind of been the same way?
It's changing.
Mm.
It's changing, and I love saying that it's. I mean, I'm talking about Korea.
Mm-hmm.
I can say like they open it more to black women. I mean, black models in general, men too, which obviously I love. Also to more curvy, even in fashion.
Yeah.
It's really tough in Korea. It's still really taboo sometimes. But yeah, it's changing.
Did you ever feel like any of that, like, you know, maybe like uncomfortable like vibe like in the beginning? Because I know I don't want to say like is it borderline racist? Like, I just think it's just like, you know, they're just not accustomed to, you know, being as open-minded or as inclusive. Like, what was that like when you first came here? Like, were you experiencing those kind of things? Like, was it really hard?
Yeah, I think it was really hard for me at first to be the black woman. Because I'm mixed. I'm half white, I'm half black, which I love my black side and I love my white side. Like, I'm totally like, I have no problem with this. I love my two different cultures. But it was making me uncomfortable that every time they were showing me references, which is makeup and like hair and also like just references, it was like dark black woman, because I knew they wanted this black image, so they choose me. And in my head, I can't help thinking it's kind of racist in a way that you want to have this cool image, but you don't want too dark.
I know another model that was on here. Maybe you know him, Ryan.
Yes.
He was kind of talking about this too, and I wish like I explored it a little bit more. Where he was saying, you know, like when I came here, like they really kind of boxed me into being like, you know, if I'm in the MV, like I gotta play the thug or I gotta play like the gangster guy or this or that, and like how does that make you feel? Like obviously, like nobody wants to be kind of like, this is who you are. You have to be this person? Like,
Yeah.
how do you deal with those kind of things?
I mean, my thing is more you have to be the curly black woman. So I don't have, thankfully I didn't have this kind of position when they're like they stuck me in it. Like you have to be this role is yours. I'm trying to think, but I never felt disrespected.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I never felt disrespected. Like they never try to show more my curls because I'm more curvy, or like, you know, they tend to do this with black women sometimes. No, I never felt disrespected, thankfully.
Yeah. Wow, you have like just like the most lucky modeling start ever. It's like everything is so positive, which like I really love, because again, like that's just like a sign that, you know, the industry's kind of changing into like more inclusive, positive, like reassuring environment versus like maybe 10 years ago when it was really like harsh and kind of unhealthy. So like maybe aside from like appearance-based things, like what are some of the other things that you find like unhealthy within the modeling industry? Is that like the competition between people, or?
I mean, there is no physical casting most of the time, so you don't feel like the pressure from other models, thankfully.
But you never had like, you know, like you or your friend were both competing for like the same job, like you both got casted for that same job, you know?
It happened, but I'm just happy for
Okay.
them.
That's good.
I'm just happy for them because I know that sometimes I get the job and that sometimes they do get the job. Like we competed without competing. Also, like I'm a different type of model. Like my image is different.
Yeah.
So there is not. That's why I'm like allow myself to ask more money also, because I know there is not much model like me. So we never really directly competing. Like if you're not a black woman with curly hair, I don't take you as my competitors, you know? Like, not really.
So there's like nothing in general that you find like unhealthy about the industry? Like
there is a lot. There's
yeah,
a lot.
okay. So like give me something. Like I'll give you an example.
I'm
like
just the kind of person like move on so easily. Like I'm unbothered.
I mean, like I think like something that I think is unhealthy within the industry is like stability, right?
Stability, like, but I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, please.
Really unhealthy in Korea is no transparency. It's crazy how like agency always try to scam you. But yeah, there is a lot of things.
Have you ever had a situation where, you know, like somebody like a middle booker, whoever it was, could be anybody, that told you like, hey, this is the price for the job, and then you found out that, you know, the actual price was way higher?
Yes.
Right.
It happened to me like to shoot with other models and like find out that one model's got paid like 6,000, for example, and the other model got paid like 4,000, and I got paid 2,000.
Makes no sense, right?
And another one got paid 1,000 for the same role. Like we're doing the same thing and we're working the same hours for the same hours. So I feel really like unfair sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there is no transparency, so you can't really know. Except like with experience, obviously you get to know. But at first it's really tough. It's really hard.
And do you feel like that's just a Korea thing, or that exists elsewhere?
No. I mean, I can compare, thankfully I can compare my agencies in France and my agency in Korea. In France, everything is really transparent. Like
very clear, right?
Really clear. Like they tell you how much they get. They tell you how much they get.
They just want their commission and out, right?
Yeah. So, yeah, we're really strict on legal stuff. Like everything has to be clear. And
how do you think like we start to change this, right? Because that right there is the exact reason that I wanted to start Spotlite, was to really create like a transparent environment where, you know, models know exactly how much they're getting paid because you set the price, and clients know exactly what they're paying for, versus just like, where's all my money going? Like, why is this model 5,000, right? Like small job or it's big job. It doesn't matter. But like, how do you think like we start to change this? Because I think it's really affecting Korean fashion culture from an outside perspective. Because when I talk to models that have worked here or, you know, were offered contracts to come here, they're all very hesitant for the most part.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yeah, you know what? Like I heard like they don't pay you like what you're actually supposed to get paid, like these kind of things. And obviously that negatively impacts the market in some way. So what are some things like you think we can do to start changing that like idea of like this is the way Korean fashion is?
I mean, it has to come from the agency, definitely. Thankfully, I hear that some people like are opening agency to try to change the trend. I'm really grateful for these people that feel involved enough to do this for us. I'm grateful for Spotlite to try to change the things too. It's really important. Like we don't want to feel like a fool. It's really good that we have people that want to change stuff.
I mean, it's just like, oh wow, I feel like I'm like so ready to just like on so many things, but I know I can't let everything out, you know. But yeah, like I totally agree. Like I think it's really important that you're compensated for like what you deserve, right? Like I can't, it really makes me angry when I think about like specific cases that obviously I can't talk about now, where, you know, like a friend was shooting like a job and they were the main and then somebody was the sub, and the main, who was my friend, had tons more experience but got paid like half of what the sub got because of who the booking came from, which I think is just really crazy, right?
It is crazy.
And you've never had like this kind of experience anywhere else, right?
I mean, it happened to me. I told you, like, I had this.
No, but I mean like outside of Korea.
Outside Korea, no. No. It's super clear. And I don't know if it's a French thing, but we love talking. We love talking, so everybody knows. Yeah. You have to be super, like, clean.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing in the modeling community in general, too, right? Like, the community itself is, like, quite small. Like, I think, like, you know, like, I could throw out a name and you'd be like, oh, yeah, I know that girl. Like, we did shooting, or, like, she's a friend of my friend or whatever. And it's like, people talk, like, we're all going to know. It's just, like, I think it's really silly that people expect, like, that there's going to be no communication and that things can kind of just get swept under the rug when now is the time when it's like.
But that's the thing, is like the reason why I say it has to come from the agency is because if us as a model trying to do anything, we just get blacklisted. So it's really hard for us, even if we know, if we communicate, it's really hard for us to do anything. Because if so, we would just stop having jobs. So we just have to be nice kids, unfortunately.
But don't you think even like clients will still find a way to get in contact with you? Because I mean, ultimately it's the client who's in charge, right? Because they're the ones signing the checks, or they're the ones actually paying for services.
Yeah. But once they give the money to the agency, they don't care where the money's going.
So do you think it's more about educating clients on like how billing and budgeting and, you know, usage rights work, so that they can make more conscious decisions of like, okay, I'm only spending this much because I know this is like roughly how much it costs, versus like, what's the price? Okay, like, why is it so expensive? Oh, well, it is because it is.
Yeah. Okay,
well, I have no other option, so now I have to, right?
I wish it could be that easy.
Me too. So you're primarily working within freelance, right?
Yes.
So how do you choose the brands or designers that you want to work with? Like, I know some people might be in a stage of building their book where they're like, I need more sporty stuff in my book, or I need more high fashion. Like, how do you go about like deciding which brands to work with, which brands not to work with?
I mean, it's really important for me that they, first of all, match with my ideas. Like, I need to feel comfortable in what I'm doing. I need to feel respected and like. So when I decide if I'm gonna work yes or not for a brand, it's really important for me to make sure that I'm just gonna feel comfortable. Like
But I mean, like, are there some kind of jobs that like you don't want to do? Like, I know, like for me, like I don't want to do real fur jobs, right? Like if it's a faux fur, sure, I don't care.
Okay.
But like these kind of things, like are there certain things that like you restrict yourself, like, oh, I'm never gonna do that? Like, I don't know. It can literally be anything, right?
It could be anything. Honestly, it's more about the brand like the way you say
the identity of the brand
than anything else. I'm not scared of trying new stuff, new things, but
so what about like editorial, where you know, like sometimes the concepts can be far from like what's a typical shooting or what a typical shooting might look like. Like, how do you think you would navigate going through like, oh, like I really, really want to do this job, but like maybe like this small aspect of the concept of this shooting I really feel uncomfortable with. Like, how do you communicate that with the team? Or
I mean, it happened like sometimes they were asking me to out of nowhere when it wasn't in the concept, like asking me to wear like underwears, like really like
exposing stuff,
exposing, really exposing, and I just say no. Like, I have this idea and I want to keep my ideas. Like, there's no way you're gonna get me out of my way.
Yeah, no. I think that's like really, really awesome, because I think a lot of like newcomers, like they just feel like they have to say yes to everything, right? And I think like you should always like feel comfortable with what you're doing, because even if you say yes and you know you feel uncomfortable because like you want it so bad or whatever, it's still not going to come out well across on the photo, right? Like it's going to show. So like I think like that's like what you said is super, super, super important, and like being comfortable to say like
no.
Yes.
I mean, yes, but
yes,
like, it's easy.
No, but yes.
Yeah, but it's not easy to say no.
No,
when you're in
it's
front
not.
of the client, it's not. I know it's not easy, but people shouldn't feel pressured because thousands of people are gonna see this after that. So you need
it
to
could
be
be more.
proud,
Who knows,
even
right?
more. Yeah. But you need to be proud of yourself. You need to feel comfortable, like about what you're gonna show to people. So never be afraid to say no.
Have you ever had an experience where like you felt like uncomfortable to say no because you know like the job was so big or the brand was so famous or this or that?
It happened. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have only good experience. I'm a lucky one, but not that lucky. But it happened to me. It was really tough because when you're in front of the client and you're about to shoot,
it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure. They put so much money. You can see like everything looks so expensive around and like, but still.
And how do you bring yourself to say no? Like, is it just like you have some like reaffirmations, like when you're thinking about that, or?
It's just like I try to make as clear as possible before the shoot. If you come up with something new and wasn't clear, wasn't in the contract and wasn't in our messages, like when we were like communicating. No, I'm sorry, this is your fault.
Wow.
I'm trying.
No, I think that's so, I really like can't emphasize how important this is, because like now I'm just thinking about personal experiences where like an example is like I had a TVC commercial shooting, and they had never given me any briefing really about like the specifics of what were going to be done during the shooting. They were like, oh, can you swim? Because there's going to be a lot of swimming. Cool. Yeah, no problem. I love swimming. I can swim all day long, whatever. Yeah. And then they're like, okay, well, like I show up and they're like, hey, can you do scuba dive? And I'm like, well, I've never tried. I can try. but like I can't promise. And then they're like, okay, well, like here's the scuba tank. We're not going to tell you how to do anything. Like this is how you breathe. Like, okay, go do scuba. And I'm like, it was awful experience. Like it could have been very dangerous, but like this is the kind of stuff like I wish I heard from, you know, models with more experience that were like, it's really okay to say no. Like, because I can think of a lot of different cases with other people that were, you know, kind of maybe coerced or forced into like a position where they felt like they can't decline, right? And I think it's really, really, really good that like we touch on that, because I don't know. I think it needs to be spoken about more often.
I mean, I had to learn this because, as I told you, sometimes with my measurement, they weren't like giving me, not for lookbooks. I know it's complicated to change your outfit when it comes to a lookbook, but when you do commercial or other shoots, and they give you an outfit like that actually don't fit you, they don't make you feel pretty or whatever. Yeah, I really learned how to say no. Like, come on, like you saw my morpho, like how my body is, like why are you trying to make me wear this? So it was really important for me to learn how to say no, because once you messed up with your like mood, the shoot is over. Yeah, you even start that you already feel bad about yourself. Everything look so negative.
Nailed it. Like I don't think people realize like how like small mood changes can really show up on camera.
Yes.
Like I know I mean like, so like one of my pet peeves is like when people make small fixes, when it's like, look, I can tell we're already way behind schedule because we're doing too much this. And then the last 2 hours is always like chaotic because like, oh, we have no time. We have to shoot it. Like we shouldn't have been so like this in the beginning. I completely forgot what I was talking. What was the context of what you were just saying?
I was saying that I was making people change my outfit when I was...
And then it's like, wow, what has happened to my brain?
Okay.
I really don't know it.
I'm trying also to...
recall back.
What were you talking about?
Okay, like I got a couple more questions, and I think we can like start to get to wrapping up.
Okay.
Like, what are some of the things you do to prepare for like a photo shoot? Like, is that like maybe you have a shooting a week out, and like you're taking really good care of like maybe not go out and party so much, so your skin is really clear. Like, do you have anything that you do specifically?
Honestly, I think working out is a really good thing in my life. Like running, I usually try to run before a shoot, because I don't know if it's only like
before
mental.
Every shoot.
I try on the morning. I wake up pretty early, like 6-7 a.m.
Oh wow!
So my shoots, like, most of the time, like around 10. And it gives me time to be able to run before my shoots. So I feel like more slimmed down, and also my skin is glowing. So this is something important for me. I don't go out much. No alcohol, obviously, it's important. It's too easy to break out. Like
super easy.
It's too easy to break out. So, I have this kind of life. I'm trying to take care of myself, like really, not only for modeling, but just for myself.
Do you have like special like skincare routines now, or?
I'm a lucky one.
Nothing.
I don't do anything. I use almond oil. That's it.
Okay, maybe that's what I need to start doing.
That's all I do. And some sun. I love sun.
What about like food wise? Like, are you pretty open, or like do you bring your own lunch? Because I've seen like some models that are very, very like strict and like health conscious. Like they'll pack their own lunch to go to the shooting, so like they can eat exactly what they.
I usually eat what they give to me. If they ask me, I ask for a salad. but most of the time they offer a burger or stuff like that. I'm like, you want a skinny model, but you offer us like a lot of candies and burgers.
Yeah.
But what I tell to myself is that's my cheat day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Have you ever had a shooting where it's like I know I've had some shootings where it's like you start shooting clothes and then maybe the second setting is like topless or, you know, like you need to be looking more fit.
Yeah.
And then like the first thing is like, hey, here's some bread. Here's like an extra large coffee. Oh, do you want some chocolate?
Yeah.
Do you want this chocolate? I'm like, oh, do you guys know we have to shoot in the afternoon?
I'm because I'm aware of this. I just postpone like I like fasting. So
Really?
it's not a problem for me to not having lunch.
Mm-hmm.
So when I know this kind of stuff, I'm gonna wear like really tight stuff. I'm just not eating. I'm just not. I don't.
But don't you ever find like you might get like fatigued or like tired because like or hangry?
I'm used to it, and if so, I just drink.
And what about like taking breaks during shooting? Because I know this, like being on set is very different than being like in an office where, you know, like you can kind of quickly finish up what you're doing and then step away for 15 minutes and go, I don't know, have a cigarette or go get a coffee or do whatever you want to do. But, you know, like in a shooting environment where it's very like go, 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 there's like a rhythm. Like, how do you find like, you're like, hey, like I need 5 minutes or 10 minutes to like just rest for a minute?
Yeah, when I need to go to the restroom, obviously, I just go to the
okay,
restroom.
Not like
But
like that. But
it doesn't bother me. Like let's finish it. Like I'm the kind of person. Let's work. And if they want to take a break, let's take a break. Usually, I just follow their pace. It's not a problem for me.
But you never had an issue where you were like, okay, like I'm super exhausted and the client is just go mode, but I need to like chill for a minute.
I guess I'm an easygoing person.
Oh, that's great. No, that's awesome.
It's just I got used to pushing myself, like in sport. So even when I feel like discomfort or like I'm thinking about like really high heels, or it happened to me once. I had a shoot with really high heels, and I don't know, a part of the shoes was like getting into my heel, but like hurting. So I have to put tissues over and over, and I kept going. Like I just wanted it to, and like what we can do anything about it because they want to shoot with those shoes. So I have to shoot with it until the end. So let's do it as quick as possible. That's it.
No, I think that's a good approach. I mean, I think I'm the same way too, where it's like I'm just there, I want to get it done. Like let's go. Like, do you ever have like clients that are maybe like too slow?
Yes.
And like, how do you go about like trying to pick them up to like get more? Because it's like sometimes you can feel the vibe and pace and see how much you still have to shoot and know it's like, okay, guys, like.
I hate when they take like really big breaks when we're already so behind.
Yeah.
But honestly, you just pay me more, so. So yeah, no, like most of the time I'm really trying to be positive about everything that happened. Like I think like, okay, we're behind, we're late, I'm sick of it, but again, I'm getting paid more, so just yeah.
Okay, one last thing like I want to touch on before we kind of wrap up. How do you feel about like the future of the industry and the way things are going with, I guess, like a harmony with technology, where like I think, I don't know, maybe the last year and a half, maybe like last year and a half, we start to see like more big brands starting to do things with like artificially created images. So like AI, it's not necessarily AI, but it's like like graphic designers are building like the perfect face, and you know, some big brands are shooting campaigns with this, or like digital models or stuff like this. Like, how do you feel about these kind of people?
I mean, obviously, I'm not I don't want to replace people by robots. Any work. I don't think it's a good thing. We still need people, but I don't think we will be able to replace creativity. The flows of a face for me is beautiful. When you have something different, when like freckles are wonderful and wrinkles are beautiful. There is a lot of things that we want to make look perfect, but it's the whole charm to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not really attracted by perfection. And I think a lot of people think the same way. So as much as they trying to replace us, I don't think it will be possible.
You don't think it's ever gonna happen?
It will, but it wouldn't be the same. Like I wouldn't be able to appreciate as much.
But what if I showed you like an image that you can't distinguish as being like artificially created? Because I think like the reality is it's gonna happen very soon. Like maybe not tomorrow, but it's gonna happen a lot quicker than we think. And then it's gonna kind of be like, well, like how come nobody talked about this before? And like I can't remember who it was, but somebody mentioned it on the podcast before where they were like, oh, well, like what if an AI designer like uses my face as like the base reference for this digitally created one, and like I can tell that's me, but like just a couple small things are changed enough where that, you know, like I might not have a legal case or be able to do anything about it. And I think that's actually like inevitable. Like those kind of things are going to happen. So it's like, how can we protect ourselves from that? Like, I don't have any answers.
I have no clue. This is
But like, have you ever thought about like those kind of things? Like, you know, like maybe in a year from now, I can just quickly like snap a photo and now like use some app and create 10 Camilles that aren't Camille. But you know, and I know like, oh, like that looks like Camille. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think we can do to kind of like start preventing some of these like negative impacts?
Honestly, I don't think it's something we have a power over. Like, it's not something we can, like, I have no clue. I have no clue. But that's also the reason why, for me, it's so important to try to think about my future in a other field. Like, I do modeling, but I also do some those other projects on the side. Like, I'm working on my own fashion brand. But I have no clue how we can prevent this kind of thing because it's gonna happen anyway.
That's what I think.
I think
like,
so.
I think it's okay. I want to talk about your brand, and then we're gonna wrap. But I think like the premise is that, you know, like modeling is very finite, where, you know, you can't do it forever. I mean, some people can. It's very rare, but I think like it's very important that if your only goal is to be a model, that like you do have some kind of backup or some other plans that you can lay back on. Like maybe you went to school and like now you can fall back on, you know, going a traditional working route, because who knows, like this job is so up and down, right? Okay, so what made you like want to start your own brand? Was that not being able to find the clothes that you wanted to wear, or you were just
Yes. At one point, yes. When I say I met really amazing people, like I really mean it. They really influenced me to create my own brand because I'm constantly surrounded by people that create. And they make their dreams and idea real. And I think it's really amazing. I used to work as an event manager, and it's crazy when you have an idea and you ended up seeing the result like in real life. And that's why I also thought about my fashion brand. I've never been a fashion person, but I know that people like my style, and I really wanted to be able to communicate and show to people what I have to offer, like the other me, the creative one.
And what's the design process been like for you? Like learning how to, I don't know, like create. I mean, I don't know how to design clothing at all. So like I'm learning now too, right? Like what are the first steps? Is it like learning how to make patterns or how to sketch?
I mean, the first step is how to sketch, like how to draw. I never drew in my life. So it was a process that I really told myself, like how to sketch and like, because you have an exact idea of what you want, but
it's hard to get this to this,
you have
right?
to be able to show it.
Yeah.
I'm not good at pattern making, so thankfully that's why it's really important to be able to show what you want exactly and communicate your ideas. So thankfully I have someone that take care of this for me.
Yes.
But yeah, you have to teach, like study and teach yourself and really culture, like about even like fabrics, like you can't use every single fabric the way you want. They're not gonna be
sit the same way or move the same way.
Yes,
right?
so you have to study everything. The process is really long, but it's really interesting and exciting.
And what's been like the most like unexpected like part of this process of like taking this to this?
I mean, everything.
Do you have samples yet?
I'm making my samples these days.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That must be super exciting, right?
It's super exciting.
Yeah.
I finished one of my pants and I went to some event with this.
Oh, like you actually had the sample?
Yeah. I heard a noise, no? A
Oh,
sound.
my camera just ran out of thing,
Yeah.
but it's okay. We can keep going. I really want to talk about this.
But yeah, I went to some events to see like how like people react to this, like. And every single time I went out with this pants, people would give me compliment without even me like being trying to point or say I have a brand or whatever.
Yeah.
One time I even went to a shoot and the stylist was like, "Oh, I really like your pen. What is the brand?"
Oh, that's cool.
And I was like, "This is my brand."
I don't know. Check the tag. It says Camille on it.
So
that's cool.
yeah, this is really cool to say that it actually impact people. They actually do like it.
Yeah. And when are like you planning to release it?
Hopefully in August.
August? Wow, this year.
Yeah.
And how long have you been preparing like from okay, I want to make my own brand to now being like almost ready to start launching?
So the first idea came like last summer. I was like, I kind of want to try.
Yeah.
And then I started to study, to draw, to design. If I show you my first design, they were like trash. And it's amazing to see the progress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, that's the same thing kind of with this podcast. Because like, I didn't know how to use this camera or use this audio equipment.
Yeah.
And like, I think like now I'm still learning a lot.
Yeah.
But, you know, like it's that process of trial and error. Like you just have to keep grinding, and then eventually like there's gonna be some like I don't know, like improvement.
Yeah, improvement. That's the thing. It's like I made a lot of mistakes and I learned a lot, but I know in the future I wouldn't make the same mistakes. I won't. I'm wasting time right now to be able to go faster in later.
Yeah, I think like learning from your mistakes is not like to take like a loss or like take the L. It's like to, you know, kind of develop your strategy for the future where it's like, oh, like I know not to do this. And well, if I do the opposite of that, let me test. Oh, wow, that works out perfect. Okay, I'm going to do more of that. And then, you know, that process of like getting there. I remember last time you didn't want to divulge too much information about the brand, but I just have like a couple more questions and we can wrap up. So was like the inspiration for the brand and like the design all yours, or did you take some kind of like inspiration or idea from like brands that you're wearing or brands that like designers that you love, like this kind of thing?
I don't really have a designer that I like. I think that's a good thing about me is because I don't have any fashion background and I'm not super passionate about it, so I'm not trying really to copy. Obviously, there is some shapes that I like and I'm trying to copy a little bit, but when it comes to the design itself, I'm really trying to
make it your
like,
own.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And do you find like, because I know like, it seems like all the time there's, you know, like emerging brands, new brands, like different concepts in creation. Like, how do you find like you differentiate yourself from, you know, like a very saturated market?
Hopefully, it's for me, the most important is the identity of the brand. So it took me so much time to choose the name of my brand, because for me it was really important to keep it, to have a story behind it, and that people will be able to understand what I'm trying to communicate. It was really, really important because it's gonna tell the whole story of my brand.
I mean, that's awesome. I think the best designers, creative artists, artists in general are storytellers, right?
Yes.
Like the brand that we worked together for, Merely Made.
Yeah.
Like I took that job because of Nad, because he's so cool.
Yeah.
But then like I started to like learn a little bit more about the brand, and like I didn't know like there was so much story and background about like the brand itself that I was like, oh wow, like that actually looks really cool, and like now I want to look at this clothes more, and like, wow, I really like this clothes. Like,
you feel more involved.
Yeah, you feel really connected, right? And how do you think like you can get people that don't know anything about you, or when your brand releases, about the brand, like how do you feel like you can connect them or make them feel connected to your brand? Is that just through storytelling, or?
Yeah, but social media. I think
this one's also
went up. Hi.
It's okay. We can still keep running the audio, and I'll do some post-production magic.
But yeah, social media will be really important. I really want to gather a community together. It's really important for me that people feel like they belong to the same story. So more than the design, the identity of the brand is really important.
And do you think like, I really want to ask like more questions, but I know like you don't want to give out too much information about it. Yeah. Can you at least give us the name of the brand?
The name is Amalgam.
Amalgam. And what does that mean? Like, where does that originate from? And then I'll stop pressuring you to ask questions.
It's legally registered anyway, so you can't take it. But amalgam, the meaning is when you put two heterogen, like two different things together, and it's formed like a wall.
Oh, okay.
So for me, it was really important to say that I met so many different people here with different backgrounds, with different origins, that love different things, and I'm really influenced by them every single day. And I'm trying to put those things that look like they can't match, but they actually do when you put them together. And the second meaning of amalgam is you know the thing that you put in the teeth, to like the metal that you put in your teeth when you
braces?
have
Filling?
No, yeah, like the filling. Yeah. It's called amalgam.
Okay.
So pretty much I'm working with someone that make jewelries.
Are you going to do grills?
No, I don't.
Oh, I was like, damn, how can I get put me on the waiting list?
But I'm working with someone that make jewelries. So every single piece has like buttons and zippers and stuff, really like customized.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I want to make art.
Yeah.
It's going to be art.
Yeah. So. And okay, last question. Did you ever, this is like really, really my last question, because obviously our camera's cut and now we're just running audio, but I really want to know, like, when you first, I guess, had like an intro experience into fashion, like from your first shooting or scouting experience, did you ever see yourself now being like full fashion, like running a brand, like these kind of things?
Never. I was so down to earth, if I can say, like being the first, like I have my master's degree and I was like really working hard to be one of the best of my school and like have the most stable job and just like I don't know, like get higher and higher in position and get more money, and everything was so obvious. And one day I just decided to quit. And when I came to Korea, I really opened to a new side of myself. Like it's just crazy because I'm so different from 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite person.
And do you think like okay, last question. I promise. Do you think like that's just solely like getting introduced into the fashion industry and now like, you know, connecting with people within the industry and kind of exploring this journey through modeling and fashion that's really changed like your character from before to now?
Obviously. I loved and enjoy every single step of this process. And I want to work in fashion. I want to work in art. I want to work in music. I want to mix everything together.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's like culture with a big C. It's important to mix everything together, and like I want to grow with people.
Yeah.
It's really that's why I'm at the beginning. I say I'm not building. It's not social media is not important for me because I'm building relationship and friendship, and I want to grow in this fashion and creative industry with people that I love and I think are talented.
Wow. I'm just trying to stop myself from asking more questions, but I know like even this is gonna run out of space soon, so we'll drop it there. Yeah, I would love to have you back maybe late summer when like you've released the brand.
Yeah.
Because I really want to know more about like this experience. Because you know, like I'm not gonna lie, there was even points like before starting Spotlite where I was like, oh, you know, like the clear cut route now is like, I love fashion, I love clothes, I want to make clothes that I like to wear. Like, why wouldn't I start a brand? So like, I'm really curious to see like somebody that's actually doing it and like their journey through, you know, getting into fashion, now starting your own brand, now managing your own brand. Like I think it's really cool. Actually, I wish we talked about it more. But yeah, I would love to have you back when your brand releases sometime this summer.
Thanks. Well, yeah, hopefully.
Okay, fingers crossed. Yeah, that's Model Talk. Thank you, everyone. I will put Camille's booking link and socials down below. And yeah, stay tuned. Amalgam coming this summer.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I don't know who I'm waving at. We don't have a camera.
Bye.
Bye.